Hi, I'm Houston Haynes, and we're here at my studio to show how the Smart AV Tango works as a front end to Steinberg's Cubase. We're going to build a little bit on our Nuendo series of videos and go over some of the transport controls again, as well as show some additional functions with the zoom controls and other navigational tools that are accessed through the Smart AV Tango's edit panels.
To recap, we'll start with the transport controls, which are on the right-hand side of the console. The first row of buttons above the jog wheel are hardwired to direct transport control: record, fast forward, play and stop, fast rewind, and loop. The second row is more interesting because the function can change with the use of the shift button, and each button can be programmed. By default, they are set to right locator, next marker, previous marker, nudge right, nudge left, and left locator. When the shift button is engaged, the marker buttons go from chasing the left and right locator to setting the left and right locator. The nudge buttons, when activated with the shift key, set the two different types of markers. The left nudge button sets an individual marker, and the right nudge button sets a cycle marker to the currently selected locator range. The previous marker button becomes a zoom to locators key, and the next marker button selects all events that fall within the locator range. This has the effect of selecting all tracks that have events in that range, which can be useful in a variety of contexts. Note that the editing preference for track selection follows event selection must be active for this function to work. You still have access to all of these commands on the Tango's edit panels and of course through menus in Cubase and Nuendo. But having these common controls literally right under your fingertips is very efficient. And of course, you can further tailor these buttons by setting your own remote commands to suit your workflow. Now we'll open the Transport Edit panel to review the functions that are laid out there. The first few rows are dedicated to markers, both for setting and chasing both individual and loop markers. Note that you have both sets of commands for cycle markers to simply locate to them and to recall a cycle marker, which also sets the locators to that section on the timeline. You also have a row of commands that allow you to take full advantage of pre- and post-roll, as well as groups of paired functions that enable you to move around the project at will. The shuttle commands offer the ability to move up and down the timeline while listening to your mix. Most times I also activate the dim control on my monitor before shuttling around the project. Having everything at your fingertips makes it intuitive and keeps the creative juices flowing. You may also notice that along the lower left edge and along the bottom of each edit panel is the same configuration of virtual controls. This is to provide consistency from panel to access the most commonly used functions. You may also notice that there are buttons here that you may not need, such as the 9-pin device button. All you have to do is simply reprogram and relabel the button to suit your needs, and you're off and running. The Transport Panel button is in the lower left corner and is used to quickly pull up and then hide the Transport Panel when accessing features that don't have a remote command, such as setting the appropriate record mode or punch in and punch out length. Once you have reviewed your settings, simply tap the Transport Panel button again, and the transport disappears from view. This is another nice side benefit of the Smart AV Tango. Aside from providing a comprehensive mixer view that allows you to keep the Cubase and Nuendo mixer closed most of the time, the edit panels also give you instant access to the controls and editors and allows you to keep the project space uncluttered and maximize the visual workspace. If we skip over to the Zoom Edit panel, you'll see a more sparse command set, but don't let that fool you. This is really powerful stuff. You'll note that the standard zoom in and out is there, but there are also a host of other functions that are really useful. Once you've set your locators, you can use the select and loop to highlight all of the events that fall within the left and right markers. This includes events that run outside the locator boundaries. This is useful because you can now use zoom to locators to zero in on what you've selected, or use zoom to selection to view the entire range of events to include those that start before and or finish after the locators. As an example, in film mixing, you might want to use this to review events that might fall outside of the scene boundary that was set by a cycle marker. The same goes for a piece of music that might have a part that runs long or could give you an indication on the amount of pre-roll you should set to lead into your punch. Zoom Tracks Exclusive, when used in conjunction with Select and Loop, allows you to focus on the tracks with events that fall within your set locators. You can also take advantage of the Zoom presets, modify your own settings in Cubase and Nuendo, and call it up instantly from the Tango. The empty edit panel locations can be populated with other remote commands, as well as your own project logical editor or macro presets. That's beyond the scope of this introduction, but it should give you the general idea. As you can see, the Tango lets you fly around your project with easy and intuitive controls, and the deep integration with Cubase and Nuendo makes for an unbeatable combination. Check out the rest of our video series as well as product updates and the latest information on smartav.net. Thanks for watching.